It's Amy.
Hi, Amy. It's Patrick again with UPCO. How are you?
Hi. I'm good, thanks.
Did you just get in? Is this the beginning of your day? Or?
Yeah, it's the beginning.
Nice. All right. Well, yeah, we're just going to jump right in where we left off yesterday. Do you have half an hour today? Is that about your setup?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, great. Let me remember. I'm pretty sure all you'd really seen is one link where we left off about how basically what the recreation technology looks like. Is that about right, Amy?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Let me. I think we may have actually left off right here. Do you have any questions before I jump in here, Amy? Or just kind of continue where we left off?
Yeah.
Okay. What this is here is an example of mobile specific. So we showed you the general gist. We're collecting every information on your site, and we're also able to play it back to you. This example is for mobile particular, because for any retailer particularly, it's a pain point because I'll let it run for a second.
I can't view your screen.
Oh, you can't? Okay, that probably would help if I click view screen. Okay, 1 second.
There we go.
All right, well, let me start that again. All this is a mobile example. We mentioned we do this for every device. It shows finger movement points, which is something that's not currently tracked by other technologies, and this is showing what they look like on the front end for you.
Mm-hmm.
So the only takeaway there is really, obviously mobile sessions aren't going to be identical to normal computers, and it accurately replays it as such. And you can also use anything related to mobile, whether it's finger touch points or orientation flips, etc., to do your regular analysis to see, how our client's looking at my website. So here's what I think is going to be most relevant. I have just a couple more screens to show you, I guess, with different capabilities, how deep we can dig before I show you the general one. So what this is listed right here is you've seen we can replay the information, we can replay it individually. What this is a screen we have for every visitor on your site that has a visitor's entire customer experience from one view. So what this is this is the individual page a visitor was on. This is their entire session within this view. So underneath here, we have the pages within a session for a customer over the course of your visit. You can go back and forth from page to page. You can play, pause the information, and you can zoom in and out into the exact screen resolution they used. But I think, I don't believe we got into this. I think this is where what you were asking about, your biggest point of interest yesterday. What's interesting here is you can go back to past sessions for that same visitor. So when you talk about being able to know the lifetime value of an individual visitor on your site, even if that user is anonymous, you have all of their history linked from the same screen. This highlights what's currently beneath, and this switches what the active session is, I guess, for analysis. So other detail here is all of this is linked with data as well. So if you want to choose whatever is important to you guys to list with each of these customer views, for instance, you would be able to sync your sale information. You'd be able to create custom tags such as whatever's important. Abandoned customer. Has this customer abandoned twice? Great. Now I see that he's here. I can look for other similar customers. So this is kind of a view that I'm going to show you kind of the path to get here, but the important part is assuming you were in your normal analytics and you wanted to take a closer look at anything, this is all directly integrated there. So after you're like taking a look, let's say people from Yahoo who came 3 times and have done this or that, once you're in that view, this is directly linked. This isn't a separate view where you kind of have to, shuffle around and say, now let's see if I can figure out how to look at this person from the deeper view. Does that make sense, Amy?
Yes.
Okay. This is going to be the last screen I show you for before I show you the actual what it looks like. What this is here, this is also exclusive technology to our company. We have a few patents pending on this. Is we have the ability, aside from replaying all this information, to do it on a live basis for your current website traffic. So what this means is if you had 5 active visitors on your site, you have the view of all of them and what they are. It's hard when I'm using these fake sites. We're not allowed to use real clients, but this would be an example if you have whatever they're doing is relayed on the screen actively, and this is also synced to the rest of our system with this color. These colors here would be a potential tag. If you said, I only want to watch customers who've made past purchases, this number would adjust accordingly to any segmented group. So if there was 2 people on your site who were at past purchases, 2 people on your site. So the point of this is 2 reasons. Number one, to be able to actively monitor someone, whether you're on the phone with them or whether, you know, you just want to take a look what's going on and see if there's any problems you didn't know happened on your site. That's the most common use case, is people just saying, oh, let's see what's happening. Why does someone keep bouncing off right now? What's going on? Oh, I didn't realize, you know, this stupid Internet Explorer came up with a new test browser and we had an issue with it. Hey, we need to get on top of that before this happens more often. So the other use case here is you can focus on any particular visitor. That just basically brings them onto this higher screen. And from there, we do have a chat built in here, but we can basically integrate anything you use to engage them directly. So if someone was on your site and you were having customer servicing with them and you wanted to actually chat with them, you would be able to initiate that chat on your end. So it's just the main takeaway here is just the ability to kind of do this from your general analytics, and you can talk about use cases depending on needs. So.
Nice.
And any questions, Amy? Okay. Look, you guys only manage, you only deal with the one main website or domain, is that right? Or do you guys have a few of them for your?
We have a few.
You do have a few. Okay, then I might as well mention this point here. Let me take a step back here. So if you have multiple websites you want to manage, we do have we have quite a few agencies we work with. So we have an agency view where you could have all of the sites from one dashboard to kind of seamlessly go back and forth. It's not separate accounts. It's all under the same account. You can have as many sites as you want. Assuming that you wanted to focus on an individual one, this is just kind of the starting point from there. I'm going to skip over all the super analytic-y stuff, but as a reminder, we are storing 1,000 times the information. By default, we're only going to choose with the 6 most important stats to each company to display. Those can be customized, but we can define these stats with a much finer scope. So from this starting point on the analytics dashboard, there's a lot of usability within. If you want to take a look at any particular segment, so this is the big difference. Now from normal, you see a number, that's kind of the end of it. We click on that particular number and it goes into this intermediary view, which shows a lot of the relevant information on a screen in between the video view. So what this is this is a unique number for each visitor. This is, you know, just general information about their visit. And you can customize from here. We created a tag for new user. You can customize, create what you want as your own personal management system for your company. You can click and take a look at how many pages they visited within each visit. And this is, I think, also based on what your need was. What I think is what we personally use even internally a lot is you can switch here. If you wanted to look at, let's say you had 15 purchases today made by 5 different people from Google. If you click within Google and this number was 15 under how many purchases were made, you could click Customer View, and that would automatically adjust and show the number 5, which would only show one container for each customer. This isn't an exact example, but so this you can go straight from a container created for each customer to a container created for each session to a container created per view. So it really depends what you're looking at. You know, if you're looking at usability, you might want to look at pages. If you want to look at customers, you can say, okay, the same guy's buying all this. Now let's look at his history and see what necessary actions are needed. So,
right.
The list. Aside from here, we have a lot of tags and filters by default here to organize this information and sift through it. But what's important is because all of our system is house-made, we're not relying on any third-party products or anything like that. We're able to adjust these dashboards fairly quickly for any company's needs, regardless of how crazy. A lot of cases, someone will say, hey, we have a lot of marketing people who don't know how to use analytics. They don't know how to use filters. Please, please change this. So they have a search bar where they enter in these 2 words. I mean, we can basically do all that in-house, and it's not going to be a huge pain point internally. So Aside from that, we look at any individual here. We can click play. It plays their information straight as it happened. Or from here is where you get to the visitor history view. If I click, hope I chose a good visit example. If I click view details, here is where we're going to go into that customer history view I showed before. So the takeaway here, of course, is this is all from that same view. You can go from the customer session page, immediately look at their history, take a look at all the key stats regarding their history, then you can go right back to the last view. So it doesn't require, going into a lot of different dashboards and playing around. So.
Right. Nice.
I'm going to take a hard stop again for do you have any other questions, Amy? Because from here, what we do, we have we have quite a few dashboards for how to kind of play with this information, manipulate it. Do you have a couple things? I don't know if you use conversion funnels or heat maps or any kind of analysis.
Well, I told you we use Google Analytics, and some of those are in Analytics. We don't actually set up conversion funnels. We've got over 10,000 SKUs, and we don't look at that. We look at conversion rates, bounce rates off certain pages. Some categories are more popular than the others. So no, we don't use anything more sophisticated than that.
It's not a problem. I'll mention just a general point in that case. We have all of those capabilities built in, from the heat maps, movement, a lot of ways to look at the data in macro, such as if you wanted to know where people clicked. Are you familiar with how click maps work, or click movement maps by chance, Amy? So assuming a normal click map, it's basically to see where people are clicking on your site. The big difference here is, particularly with most companies I know, I've used them for quite a long time, they give you click maps, and the point is to identify either hot areas for conversion or to find problems on your site. So if you see, let's say, 10 clicks that are just to the left of your logo here. So the problem is, usually you see that, and you kind of have to go back to square one and figure out why that happened. Was that because our logo showed up incorrectly on a particular mobile device? Was there a toolbar, or is these customers confused because we had a word that looks clickable that isn't? The big difference here is from here, in our case, you can move your mouse over each point and click play on the video. So that's a common way to find these kind of problems without having to spend 50 hours looking at a bunch of charts, is say, what could have possibly caused someone to click over here? Let's click play. Oh, look, this person might have just been off his rocker. There's no explanation. But in most cases, I'll tell you, this is what we've learned. A lot of cases, it has to do with a page-related error, and we do show those accurately within the videos. So if there was a page-related error that caused something, you're not going to yell at your marketing department. You're going to yell at your tech department, and you're going to tell them, look at the other details surrounding the session to figure out why that happened. And in a lot of cases, it'll be, you're using a new technology. There's a new browser out there that's bringing them. A lot of times, that's a lot of use cases in those cases. So I think it's pretty relevant that all of these are integrated just to be able to discover those things without, just looking through piles of data. So. And that's the same case I was going to say for the conversion funnels. If you do use them, usually it's the same deal. You see, wow, I have 10 abandoned visitors. I have 100 abandoned visitors. Here's my, rate of how many people are purchasing in this scenario. Once again, the question is, why are they not doing this? Why? What's the insight I get from this information that I have a hole in my site, And we have those synced directly as well. So you can say, all right, here's the 10 people who spent 20 minutes buying 50 things and then left for no reason. I'm going to watch exactly what happened. And a lot of cases, you can figure out what happens. A lot of this comes down to common sense more than trying to get too techy into the analytic world. It's just common sense. If you can see what your customers want and are doing, you can adjust and, accordingly. So, last thing I'm going to show you in that world is that, do you guys use a tagging system, Amy, currently to monitor any particular customers?
Customers, no. Campaigns, yes.
Okay. Do you guys do a lot of, what kind of campaigns? You guys do PPC or email?
We'll use Google Analytics, UTM codes, or, and then all of our different media partners will apply their own tags. Like our affiliates use their tags, our retargeting partners use their tags.
Okay.
So it's not something we don't use. We just we use the Google Analytics tracking tags, and then they'll do something else. And of course, they're watching and serving on a customer level basis.
No problem. So that's where, yeah, I'll mention in that case we have a couple ways to define tags. One is to directly tag any particular campaign. The other way to do it is tagging information such as, let's say you have your default tags for campaigns to kind of get the raw data. If I wanted to create a tag that said a fake scenario, if we had a campaign from an affiliate on a PPC campaign, I tag that individually. Now I want to have a different tag that says only high value from campaign X. In this case, the point of this particular module is you can inner tag for entire visitor history instead of just people who came from there. So if you already had firm tags set, I could create a purple tag and set a criteria that says from this campaign on the tag I created, let me know people who stayed here for 5 minutes and have purchased 3 times in the past. So it just kind of a system where this tagging in particular, you can double tag, you can triple tag, you can add 50 tags on any visit, and it's used more for customer life history because it's on the visitor and not the action, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. Other point here, so I'm not going to show these criteria steps, but from here you can also assign a unique value within our system. So if I wanted to say that people from campaign X who, I don't know, did whatever, came from Canada, purchased 3 times, every time they visit, I want to add a value of 10 to their visitor score. I can either add this value each time they visit, or I can add that value only once. The reason we have only once is for demographics and a lot of statistics. If you've figured out that people from Canada are more valuable to your site, you don't want their value to increase every time they visit your site, but you might want it to increase once. I'll show you how that's correlated, taking a half step back. That's correlated here in our lifetime value. It is recorded for each customer. If we had set the tags in this scenario, you'd have the lifetime value. So it's another criteria for you to search through to say, hey, I set a lot of different values to guess whether people who are purchasing have came a lot. It's another way to do analysis and figure out correlations to what's important. So does that make sense?
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Well, on my end, that's a hard stop. Do you have any other questions, Amy, other than the details, I guess? I'm obviously of price and implementation, all those kind of things. So.
No, this is good. It's always nice for me to know what's out there and what's available for when we get into conversations and needing something like this. We're not at this stage. I mean, this would take a department to actually read this and utilize this data. It's a lot of good, juicy data. I think right now we're fine with the Google Analytics, but we are moving in this direction. Just not right now. So it's good to keep me in the loop of this. If you have white papers that you have or send out, keep me in that distribution.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate it. So it sounds like your biggest concern you mentioned before is you're kind of the entire marketing department on your end, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I understand. Just a couple notes on that point. Number one on that, so in your case, it sounds like, are you digging into because you had mentioned your need to kind of look at the visitor history life cycles. Is that something that you haven't had time to take an attempt at so far, or is it just something you guys are looking for in the future?
Both.
Both. Okay. Yeah, I'll mention on that note too. So the 2 things I was going to mention is number one, this is a lot to throw at someone in an introduction, but all of these are available individually as well. Such as if you said, hey, we only want the live view for particular customers. I thought possibly in your case you might only be interested in syncing this to your current Google Analytics, the customer history view. You really don't need all of these, sophisticated, larger enterprises usually might want quite a few, but for practical use, you might only want to say, I want within Google just to be able to click on this record and see all this information. So that's just something for you to keep in mind, that it's not an all or nothing type thing. All of this is completely modularizable and flexible to fill any particular hole your company has. So.
Okay. Good to know.
If you have another 10 minutes, assuming, I was actually going to show you, we have another offering within this module as well that refers to monitoring your competition and kind of knowing what's working for them. You guys do anything along those lines? Or is that a point of interest, I guess, for your company, Amy?
It will be after we do like our site redesign and our new rebrand initiative. Once we roll that out. That will be interesting. Right now, no.
Okay. All right, no problem. One of you guys, what's your guys' time frame look like for your site reroll? Are you guys developers?
Probably within the next 2 months.
Within the next couple months?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess that's it on our end. So you have no other questions? Any other points of interest? Or I should just send you some follow-ups?
Yeah, this is good. Feel free to follow up. You know, again, if you have any literature that you guys send out, keep on the distribution and just stay top of mind.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too.